various members of his administration have not helped the situation with putting forward a good image on how this administration or its designates are going to tackle this. So, for example, so if you guys remember, back in January, the Trump administration, in its last days, its State Department officially gave the designation of the Uyghur genocide as a genocide. Okay. And then there was this incident at the end of the month where Biden's appointee as ambassador to the United Nations said that the State Department didn't follow the procedure and that they were reviewing this designation. So this really alarmed people because in August, let me go backwards. In August, on the campaign, Biden's team and him said that this was a genocide. Okay. So then the State Department formally opened up an investigation in December. They made their designation in January. But so they were like, oh, wait, this is only like this December to January. That's too quick. Well, the State Department had been taking actions against China for this specific situation for over 2 years. Right. So the formal process was in December to January, but the actions had been ongoing for several years at that point. So this alarmed a lot of people. So this happened specifically where, so what's her name again? What's her first name? Linda Thomas Greenfield. So she was being questioned by Marco Rubio. And Thomas Greenfield said, what they're doing there has been referred to as a genocide, and I know that the State Department is reviewing this as we speak. What they're doing is horrific, and I look forward to seeing the results of the review that's been done. Rubio said, the State Department issued a designation, I believe, on the president's last day. So is your understanding that it's now being reviewed by the State Department to see if that's appropriate? And then she said, I think the State Department is reviewing that now because all the procedures were not followed. And I think they're looking at that to make sure that they're followed to ensure that designation is held. Meanwhile, Kelly Currie, a former senior State Department official with direct knowledge of the process, said the process was followed and any claim otherwise is either uninformed or misleading. So there was that in the end of January, and that really alarmed a lot of people. So then in mid-February, the State Department comes forward and cleans up her what she said. So for the record, the Senate confirmed her as the ambassador to the UN last week. So, but this was all when she was still just a designate. So basically, the State Department came forward to say that there's lots of people who basically said that this review never happened and that this designation has still remained. Okay. But it was a really bad look. So what
was the result?
She said at the same time that this was horrific, but that she was waiting the results of the Biden administration review. So she was holding off on endorsing this policy determination while she claimed that it was under review. The latest State Department statement seems to refute Thomas Greenfield's claim that the Biden administration is reviewing former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's findings of crimes against humanity and genocide, and that her assertion that all of the procedures were not followed. So just as a reminder, Mike Pompeo's finding was not just genocide, it was also crimes against humanity, which is a separate designation. As Secretary Blinken and Ambassador Thomas Greenfield have made clear, genocide was committed against Uyghurs in Xinjiang, wrote the State Department spokesman on Thursday in response to National Review's questions. But the UN ambassador designate has never actually publicly retracted her claim that the State Department is reviewing the policy, and she has not made clear that she endorsed the genocide determination. For his part, Blinken made clear, so this is our current Secretary of State, is Blinken, made clear his view that crimes against humanity and genocide are both taking place during his confirmation hearing and in a press briefing that followed her comments. And Biden advocated such a determination during the campaign.
Okay, good.
And so, yeah, there was various back and forth. Are they reviewing it? Are they not? And that really set alarms on a lot of people because it's not going to help the appearance of your administration or people's fears that your administration are going to go easy on this regime if this is being echoed through multiple high-level ambassadors in your administration. And there was also some comments by his press secretary, Jen Psaki, that raised alarms, but she's had a number of gaffes, and I don't know what's going on with her. But again, coming from your press secretary, it's alarming to the public. So I thought that this was a pretty good article. It's called "Biden's Confusion on How to Talk About Genocide," and this came out on the 17th. A flubbed answer on communist China's concentration camps exposes the flaw in Biden's calls for cooperation with the regime. So here it just kind of recaps the video that we watched or the statements made. Many interpreted this as some kind of justification for the Chinese Communist Party's drive to wipe out Turkic minorities in Xinjiang. If that were true, the president's comment would fly in the face of what he had previously said about the plight of the Uyghur people. And in fact, Biden, who was as early as August called the Xinjiang crisis a genocide, so of note, that was before the Trump administration gave that official designation, ultimately told Cooper, quote, "There will be repercussions, and Xi knows that."
I'm so grateful that Anderson Cooper pushed them on that. Like he didn't that it's so amazing how a simple clarification, like I don't know if these people understand, like these conversations that they're having on air, just asking the right questions or just saying that is going to have major effects on thousands of people. So anyways, but I wish he pushed it even harder, but it's fine. We're going. I mean, it's not fine.
Although it's possible that his cultural norm comments were some ham-fisted attempt at shielding Xi for criticism, it's more likely that the president had his foot in his mouth as he attempted to explain his obligation to speak out on human rights abuses. Still, the incident shed light on Biden administration's broader confusion when it comes to confronting Xi. If the president believes that the CCP is perpetrating a genocide, and White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki recently confirmed that he does, he should lead with a clear condemnation of the Chinese regime's mass atrocities, not recounting the time he spent getting to know the man responsible for the 21st century concentration camps as he did last night. He should be making the case for his conclusions about this barbarity, and the understanding of the regime's conduct should play a role in every decision he makes with regard to China policy. The new team has taken drastic steps to put human rights first in foreign policy decision-making. In the Gulf, so then here he just talks about human rights actions taken by the government so far, or this administration so far. So Saudi, UAE, and Yemen situation, and the military coup in Burma. But I'm not going to get into that. This human rights-oriented approach has also guided its engagement with China. Both Biden and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken raised Beijing's severe human rights abuses during their calls with their Chinese counterparts, and both consistently raised these concerns in their public speeches. On several occasions, Blinken has confirmed that he agrees with his predecessor's finding that Beijing is carrying out crimes against humanity and genocide against the Uyghurs. The administration has also made clear that the U.S. is in competition with China, even extreme competition, as Biden recently put it.
I like Blinken, by the way. It seems so far if he does something, but he seems like he was a good pick by the Biden administration. I like his positions on against Saudi Arabia. I like how they didn't bend the knee to, like, when it comes to the deal, when it comes to Iran. And I like what he's saying about China a lot more than what Biden's saying. I don't know. Maybe Biden is just too old to be able to talk about China. Maybe just let Blinken do everything and just stay back. I don't know. But Blinken seems to be, better. I think like he's doing everything right. At least seems like it. Like he's saying the right words. I don't know what's going to happen in the background. But go ahead.
Well, and the thing was, the impression I got when we were watching that clip earlier was like, he was just having really severe like mush mouth.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I call it. It's just like
too,
the words weren't articulating well. It's so
he's too old to be president. But I'm glad that he picked Blinken because he's like it's a good pick so far. What was I gonna say? Oh, by the way, if as much as I like how, I think it was a good thing that at the very end there was some, the Trump administration going out did some really stupid crap, but this one might have started pushed a lot of countries. Like Canada is now being pressured to call this genocide, right? Like Trudeau was really under pressure, right? So this one thing by the Trump administration might have had a positive effect on taking China's human rights violation more seriously globally, because a lot of world leaders are now being asked, do you think this is genocide? Like, do you think this is genocide? Like, you're being asked, right? However, let me just be clear. The Trump administration had zero good intentions on this, right? If they care about human rights, they would be a lot tougher on Saudi Arabia, right? Like they
not
just
actively protect MBS.
They were not just protecting him; they participated in the human rights violations committed by Saudi Arabia, right? So it's just. I just wish people this is a childish way of thinking about things, but it doesn't. Sometimes you feel like it doesn't. The human lives, it doesn't matter, right? The Trump administration is going to be more pro Saudi Arabia, more anti-China because for political and then now Biden administration is going to be more anti-Saudi Arabia. I mean, the Biden administration is less, polar like that compared to the Trump administration. So it's a lot better. But still, really, is it really that hard to be tough against such obvious human rights violations? These should be the easiest positions to take by any government. But I mean, I know the execution of it, okay, is going to be complicated. Like, a lot of people think it's easy to just be cut all ties with Saudi Arabia, cut all ties with China. Yeah, sure. No, that's not going to work. It's a lot more, the execution of the consequences are very complicated, right? And there's a lot of give and take. But at least taking a stand, at least signaling to the world that something is happening, just making out the easiest part of the job is just making strong statements. As empty as that seems, you could at least do that, making the strongest statements that you possibly can against such obvious, these are things that future generations are going to look back on and be the same way that we look back at previous human rights violations, and we're what the hell? How did people allow this, right? What's happening in Yemen, what's happening in North Korea, and what's happening in China, the people are let's stay away, no intervention at all. This, you guys are going to be remembered as the people who we remember previous generation of how did the world just stood by and let this happen? You guys are one of those. That's how you're going to be remembered. The people that are oh, let's just wash our hand, just focus on home and do nothing. You guys are going to be the people that other future generations are going to look at and be they just let it happen. They just let it happen. Anyways.
Well, I think obviously making strong statements wherever possible is extremely important, but what's more important is actions. And we've yet to really see this administration take actions against China. So I'm going to be very curious to see when that comes. I mean, maybe they set the bar too high with coming after Saudi Arabia so quick. And so hard.
They're complaining about Saudi Arabia right now. They're saying, why are you not sanctioning the MBS? Even after they came out and they declassified something so like something that is creating so much tension between the United States and Saudi Arabia. And we were like, whoop, whoop, whoopsie, we declassified the information. That was like such a such a huge aggressive move against Mohammed bin Salman. And Biden is refusing to even talk to Mohammed bin Salman. He's talking to his father instead, right? They're like, he's not even recognizing him as the authority. They're signaling to the Saudi regimes that maybe pick a different leader, like reducing his like that's huge. That's a very clever behind the scene ways of trying to like signal to all the powers at be in Saudi Arabia that it would be easier for United States to work with Saudi Arabia if this guy wasn't in charge. That's like a chess move. That's a beautiful chess move, not talking to MBS and talking to his father himself. But people are like, oh, well, you said that it was MBS that killed Khashoggi, so why are you not putting him on full sanctions? Really? Really? You want to like cut out, like put MBS? Like, you know, oh God, these are we're dealing with children.
Like, put your daddy on the phone.
No, but that's a really clever move against Saudi Arabia. Like, do you know, like that would be the. I'm gonna cover this with another live stream. Like putting it, like sanctioning the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, which is supposed to be a United States main ally, one of the United States main ally in the region. Like they are taking the moves that they have made against Saudi Arabia has been very aggressive. And for people to think like it hasn't been aggressive enough, they are very naive about what is possible, right? And how much it could be like. Imagine what it means to the entire Saudi regime if you put their crown prince on a sanction list. The guy that's supposed to be the king. Like you're basically cutting into complete ties with Saudi Arabia. Okay, I think the move so far that that Biden administration has taken against Saudi Arabia has been very clever and very aggressive, and more aggressive than I thought it would have got. Right. It's so good. And even though, here's the thing, I am very against the Saudi regime. But if any aggressions by the Houthis or by Iran's regime on Saudi soil needs to be defended by United States, needs to step in and defend their allies against any Iranian aggression. Okay? That even as somebody that thinks the Saudi regime is one of the worst regimes, second only to North Korea, I still think like if you have an ally in the region, you need to, Biden. It's good that Biden is making all these moves against Saudi Arabia while saying that we will be there to defend our allies if somebody attacks our allies. It's a very good. It has been a very nuanced, very clever give and take so far. I don't know where it's going to go from here. Okay, with China,
they're kind of taking like a boil the frog approach.
Yeah. You know what? I think that Biden's administration is maybe just a lot better than the way Biden talks. Maybe I'm hoping that what Biden said here is not a representative of what Blinken and the rest of his administration is doing behind the scenes, right? Because what Blinken has been saying sounds pretty good when it comes to China so far, right? So we'll see. But we're here but fuck Biden anyways for saying that, okay? And you know what? You know who else should be offended by what Biden said?
Oh, Chinese people.
Chinese people.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, if I was Chinese and he said like, we have our values, they have their values. If I was Chinese, I would be like,
oh my God.
Are you saying that your American values is to stand for human rights and Chinese values is to do genocide? Like, is this is the Chinese way, apparently? Like, did you do genocide? What do you expect? Like, if I was Chinese, I would be offended right now.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.